in South Florida. Turn the phone this way. Good morning, there you are. Hope everyone's doing well. I wanted to hop on here. In probably 2 weeks since I last uploaded. Want any, there we go. It should be a good feed. So whenever I go about just over a week without uploading, I get messages from people that enjoy the content. Where am I? So I feel bad when I get that because I feel like I'm letting people down, and that's, if you really know me, like that's my biggest thing is I like to exceed people's expectations. But I wanted to answer 2 questions I get, which is where have you been, and is Bitcoin Cash still a good investment? So we'll start with first, is Bitcoin Cash still a good investment? So of course, just like any financial video, this is not financial advice. So from the bear market, I think every coin has its share of doubts during these times of price numbers not going up. Good morning. How's it going? So it'll make you think all kinds of ways, right? And remove you from looking at the situation a little bit more objectively, or understand that there's risk with investment too. Sure. First I just want to start with, what do I love about Bitcoin Cash? The community is the most economically pure, I'll say. It is, it's the Ron Paul of cryptos. It's a very philosophic community, especially, I think it's almost somewhat of an advantage of underperformance, that it's, none of the people in the community are just in it for, let's say, the wrong reasons, for the money to go up. They really believe in something, and it's a very hard thing to beat. It's a very strong floor, and as the market turns, well, that's a huge advantage, because you have a really calloused floor of investors. And now, as these investors, as the price does go up, which it will, now have more capital, and they have lots of discipline, and they've struggled, I think that is a huge advantage. And if you just look at the rest of the market, what other coins are better at being cash than Bitcoin Cash? And I still go look at the markets, and I can't find a more decentralized, proven blockchain than Bitcoin Cash. And I can even point out some of my other favorite coins. I've always talked about Monero on this channel. I love Monero. Monero is a fantastic coin. Also probably has a very deep philosophic community. And I think it stands for really good principles. I have one major concern with Monero. Bitcoin Cash is a public ledger that's pseudo-anonymous in nature. Like, you can participate in the Bitcoin Cash network and have anonymity through various ways, right? If I can get a wallet address and not identify it to me, right? So people, it won't be like obviously clearer that those are my funds when you go look at the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. So that's like pseudo-anonymous. Can't say that word today. Where, a huge advantage for Monero is that it is a private ledger. So no one can see anything. Everyone's blind. It's completely, every transaction is fungible, and that is incredible, and it's a great principle to have. I think that creates one small issue, and if anyone knows the answer to it, please feel free to answer here. But you look at coins that have suffered inflation bugs. Bitcoin, the biggest coin in the market, has had multiple inflation bugs. One of them was resolved by a Bitcoin Cash developer. But let's say if you're on a private ledger and there's an inflation bug, what happens? It can't be publicly shown, right? So I think that's a huge threat. If you did like a SWOT analysis of Monero, like what could destroy it, like any business should do like a SWOT analysis. What are my threats? That's a major threat. not saying Bitcoin Cash doesn't have its own threat, but that's why I do think the main coin that becomes the real leader in the peer-to-peer cash for the future will be pseudo-anonymous in nature, but a public ledger. I do think public ledger, even though a private ledger is extremely important, and probably will find ways to solve that issue I just pointed out there. I do think that makes me just on a high level more bullish on Bitcoin Cash. But then everyone could point out that the biggest thing ever since the fork was the hash rate, and and that is a bit of a problem for Bitcoin Cash. It doesn't take a whole lot of money to reorg the network. And it's always pointed out like a weak point, and I do think that's a decent case to make. Like I think it would like right now, Ethereum is very expensive to attack. So I think that is probably the biggest threat that I think everyone does know and understand. But in terms of actually usage and merchant adoption, Bitcoin Cash still leads. Like these things are very important. It's the crypto that is most used because it's the most usable crypto. On a high level, I do have concerns about CBDCs, which I haven't really talked about too much on this channel, but I'll briefly go over CBDCs. Government is going to create cryptocurrencies. They're actively doing it. And a public ledger that is not pseudo-anonymous in nature, that just ties to your social security, is horrible. And especially things like Lightning Wallet, I think it's going to play exactly into, they're probably like CBDC guidelines. Like CBDC is cryptocurrencies by government. So I do think that is probably the nature in which Bitcoin BTC will follow. It'll just become a watch system for politicians. And if you make money because that happened, like that's not really that cool. It didn't really revolutionize anything. Maybe you made money a bit more sound, but I don't think that the government would trade the dollar for Bitcoin. They would not trade the dollar for Bitcoin without having printing ability. So I think the Lightning Network will lose some kind of, I don't know. It'll start off as like this honest fractional reserve system the government wants to create, and then it'll just be sabotaged if that even happens. This has happened before, so sorry, switching arms. So show me a better coin than Bitcoin Cash. Show me a better coin. Do a SWOT analysis. Those are, that's something that, again, forget the exact acronym, but it is a measurement of threats against your business. So, this damn truck's so loud. So, I do think psychologically, I don't know what it is. Like the bear market brings these kinds of things out, and where have I been? And there's also concern there's less people obviously making content in the bear market, and I'd like to say that it isn't because of market conditions, because there really is good reasons. In terms of my personal life and business, I talked about on this channel, I have hired multiple more employees to help me. My business has grown at a rate where it's almost like a danger to itself. A lot of increasing costs, a lot of investments necessary to continue to grow, and a lot of energy. It's going very well, but it's something I feel like needed extra attention along with my family, and also I've been spending a lot of time on my mental health, and I've actually had a great conversation with Sovereign Nan, who might watch this video. We talked for about an hour about mental health and life and ways to improve your mental health. We actually may meet up here in the not too distant future. So it's really amazing that Bitcoin Cash brings these people that would have never spoke together to talk about very interesting things. So, in a sense, where have I been? I've been working on my mental health and my business and my family. YouTube is something I've really enjoyed. Doing it for a couple of years, and I would shoot videos on Friday night, take it, a few hours after work, maybe do a light edit in the morning, do heavy editing Saturday night, and then Sunday finish up and publish, thumbnail, all that, and put out the different social networks. And and I loved it, man. I had like insane amount of energy, and I was able to still grow my business and be a father and all these things. And I just started to feel like not good. and I don't want to like pretend like I'm immune to market conditions. I have to say, like, while I don't think it was the major reason for like me needing to take a step back to work on myself. Hayden, I really enjoyed your last video, man. Thanks for hopping on. I would say that market conditions probably did have an effect, or probably do have an effect on my mental health. I don't know if anyone else in crypto can share that. When you're seeing on the way up, it's very exuberant. You're making hundreds of thousands of dollars or something, or on the way down, you're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even though I've been through it before, I would say like it probably altered my mood a bit. Even though I know better, it's a tough discipline. So like I've been doing, and I do think by improving your mental health, it can improve your ability to do a lot of things, especially as an investor, which is more, it's the biggest challenge in being a great investor, let's say, is yourself, your emotions, the way you feel, being greedy, being smart. These things are very difficult. So, Hayden, I really enjoyed your video about PayPal. It's pretty incredible that actually like really happened. Like, an institution said they will take $2,500 worth and fine you if they don't like the things you say. So therefore, you must do the. I don't know if anyone else saw that. Go watch Hayden's video, but he does such an amazing job. But yeah, if you use, so it's insane. And they came out after and said, "Oh, sorry, we don't even know how this got out. We're, $200 billion company, and we don't really have processes to publish information." So it just goes to point out again why cryptos are so important, as Hayden pointed out in his video, and why people should use cryptocurrency and should embrace it, because it does not allow for that kind of behavior. Hayden says here, that wasn't even the most crazy part. The crazy part was that PayPal admitted they would be surveilling their customers outside the PayPal platform. Yeah. You can just like on a high level, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we're living in a simulation, and that sounds like strange to say. I've been saying it on the channel before, but like I feel like I'm in a video game. I think Ryan Reynolds made a movie about realizing he was in a video game. Someone showed it to me and said I should watch it, but like it's like so obvious that crypto is gonna like eventually fix these, tyrannical things that are happening to us, right? Like humans are not gonna put up with companies like PayPal, with these kinds of terms and conditions, and I think you said in your video too, Hayden, how they're a private company, they could do what they want, right? And like that's a very popular thing to say with like censoring free speech and and I think but like also these larger companies are so corporatist in nature that they are essentially synonymous with the government, or the government's infiltrated their companies and push their terms and conditions in certain directions, that they are making companies do things. So therefore, I don't know, and I don't want to get like all the way down that rabbit hole, but I think there's enough evidence to prove that like they're making sure that government guidelines, companies are enforcing government guidelines. Hayden goes, this is probably actually them working with government. Yes, I was saying, or some other organization who does surveilling for disinformation. Yet for disinformation that instructs PayPal to take action. I saw a great meme on the internet. I shared it to my Instagram. If you're on Instagram, follow me at rgiffin89. But it was, Alex Jones got fined $1 billion for saying Sandy Hook was a false flag attack. Now think about that what you will. I don't watch Alex Jones's content. Back in the day, he was one of the few people that was having interesting people on, a lot of libertarian coverage, talked openly about funky things with 9/11. So I do think, I'll say I'm not the biggest fan of his content. I'm not going to say Alex Jones is all bad. I do think he's an interesting, eccentric character. But so Alex Jones is wrong about Sandy Hook, right? And he has said that. Now the fine he must pay is $1 billion. But the meme on the internet says, what was the consequence that Dick Cheney had to pay, or that government of the United States when they said Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction? He did not pay $1 billion. He made essentially a shit ton of money off of, his enormous amount of shares in companies like Halliburton that got huge government contracts to blow up Iraq and rebuild it. So, certain people can spread disinformation. Politicians like Dick Cheney are allowed to spread disinformation, but private citizens are not. They get money taken away from PayPal. They get fined $1 billion. And I'm not endorsing spreading disinformation per se. I'm just the policies and who's allowed to do it. Or are you allowed to be wrong? What if Alex Jones really believed that and now has to pay $1 billion? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. So yeah. So I want to kind of get back to a little bit, where have I been? So I've been doing a lot of mental health stuff, essentially yoga. It's I was doing a lot of meditation, and I kind of made it more yoga based, yin yoga specifically. And it feels, I have energy again. I'm feeling more creative. Hayden, I think you're super creative, and you put out really good content. It takes a creative spirit to do stuff like that, and I just haven't had mine as much as I have had previously. So I do think the more healthy I feel going to the gym now, actually walking from my house to the gym, I'll continue to build in that nature and build a sound business that doesn't require as much energy as it has. So, and I still am very excited for Bitcoin Cash. I do think, Hayden, I don't know if you're going to St. Kitts. If you are, let me know. I do think that would be a good event to kind of bring some community together, a community that has had a bit of turmoil, I would say. Just I don't think it's unique from any other crypto community. I think if you look at the BTC community, sorry, I'm tying my shoe. The BTC community has a lot of turmoil. El Salvador does nothing to celebrate. Did nothing to celebrate its adoption of Bitcoin as a currency there. The government did not even acknowledge the adoption. The president no longer has laser eyes or Bitcoin in his profile. So that project has essentially failed. So that's really bad for that project. And Michael Saylor is no longer even the CEO of MicroStrategy. And so that community, I think Ethereum kind of still has a nice buzz about it. Ethereum, we'll see how the whole proof of work thing works out. I think Ethereum is a fantastic project and community, but doesn't really chase to be cash. Maybe it could be cash as a result of its adoption. It has a lot of real usage. A lot of people really use Ethereum. And maybe that becomes money at some point. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like to be the focus today. And so you will learn. The bear markets are so interesting, right? Because it brings this concerned attitude where people will message me about their fears of a particular coin. And it's like, this is not unique to like Bitcoin Cash if the market is down. That's absolutely true. So anyways, I'm gonna hit the gym, invest wisely, diversify maybe, like make sure you have crypto. Like not having crypto I think is a risk, and in my opinion. And yeah, so guys, thank you so much for hopping on live and jumping in the chat. I'm going to hit a workout and wish you all well. Talk to you soon.